Thanks to Lantern Right, I finally have my free Gah-Ming, and after playing him for quite some time, I can safely say that he is quite fun. We're here with Gah-Ming and Masanori, and it turns out he's a Cantonese dude, apparently, according to his name at the very least, because he's not being called Gah-Ming. So, if that's the case, well, Homeboy's pretty good. And this is my favorite team, I think, with Gah-Ming. Good old-fashioned over-vape team, because we get to use the first and only Pyro Healer attack buffer. Like so. And if I actually maintained my health a little bit better, then Muntai would be popping out. But as you can see, we're doing quite a lot of damage with Gah-Ming. And even though our Hydro application at the end was a little bit scuffed, it's still pretty good. There's a lot of teams that you can play with Gah-Ming. Well, it's mainly vape teams anyway, so there's a lot of variations with vape teams. You could go for, let's say, the usual double Hydro core, Xingqiu, Yalan, Candace. Pick two of those. That's fine. Keep in mind though that unfortunately Candace is going to be not as great for someone like Gah-Ming, mainly because she buffs normal attacks, not plunging attacks. But you could still do some Hydro application, especially if you have C6 Candace, so that's pretty nice as well. Otherwise, Yalan is a really, really good choice because she buffs all of the damage, and that includes plunging attacks. So Yalan is definitely a good choice if you don't want to bring like a healer. And so if you want to play like Zhongli, for example, you should still be able to maintain like a health positive gameplay, I think, with Gah-Ming, but it kind of gets a little bit iffy here and there, so I would probably still say bring a healer, even if it's like a healer who doesn't do a ton of healing, but can still provide some other shenanigans. So for example, Diona, I actually think is pretty good with Gah-Ming, especially if you can actually maintain like freeze comp on the enemies, so that potentially you might be able to do melts with Gah-Ming. You'll probably end up doing more damage depending on your build. Well, actually, no, generally speaking, you will do more damage, but it just depends on how your application works. But otherwise, you know, the old Dory Chevreuse combo seems to work really, really well for me, especially if I'm bringing someone like Farina. But if I'm not bringing Farina, if I am sticking with someone like Ilan, then someone like Chevry and Fischl, Chevy, Miko, absolutely perfectly fine options as well, so that we can maintain that sort of electro aura, so that we can do some overload, so that you can then buff Gah-Ming's damage with someone like Chevreuse, because that would be really, really good. But yeah, otherwise you can really just experiment with a whole lot of other characters, and have some very interesting and engaging teams that are just really, really nice. In terms of building Gah-Ming, first off, let's just talk about his weapons real quick. Like, I only have a few claymores available to me, so I'm kind of switching and changing between Mailed Flower, Prototype Archaic, or Wolf's Gravestone, and on some occasions even Blackcliff Slasher. It just depends on like what the team is and what I already have available in terms of like outside buffs. If I'm bringing, for example, Chevy, Dory, and Farina, then I'll probably stick to using Mailed Flower. If I'm bringing, let's say, Diona Double Hydro, then I might stick with either Wolf's Gravestone or Blackcliff Slasher. So yeah, you kind of just need to figure out what you're going to use based entirely off what your team has. So yeah, just feel free to experiment with that. And then of course, when it comes to the artifacts, it turns out that Gah-Ming can already manipulate his health to go up and down without the need for someone like Farina on the team, or healers for that matter. It's not as effective as, say, Nouvelette's health manipulation, where it goes really up and down, but that's okay. As long as it goes up and down relatively quickly and relatively often, you can maintain Marechaussee Hunter on Gah-Ming. So there's really no reason whatsoever to use anything other than Marechaussee Hunter on Gah-Ming. And like I said, you should still be relatively health positive, or maybe just a smidge health negative, but yeah, bringing a healer is probably still a really, really good idea. So if that's the case, the healing that you get from that healer is also going to help with Marechaussee Hunter. And yeah, in terms of his constellations, they're great. I don't feel like you really need them, but C6 is supposed to be pretty damn good. Obviously, I don't have C6, but the reading of it seems to suggest it's pretty strong. So if you want to go for it, feel free. Also keep in mind that Cloud Retainer is now a character that exists, so a lot of your Gah-Ming teams, if you want to bring someone like Jean, you might actually have a better option with someone like Cloud Retainer if you happen to have Cloud Retainer. So, yeah. Basically, your boy's got a lot of options, and because we have so many different kinds of Hydro application available, as well as varying forms of healing available, he's pretty much in a particularly good spot just right from the jump. So if you want to play him, I think you're going to have a great time with him. Let me know what all of this in the comments below. How do you feel about Gah-Ming? Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed this. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more gaming action. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Shake and stir. Think you can bully me? Handle your drink.
Ring cutter. Here comes the cash. Busted.
Many happy returns. Sorry, pal. Not possible.
Busted. Gotcha. Things are about to get dicey. No, my sword. Witness the power.
Shake and stir.
Many happy